Hey, what's up guys? My name is Josh Kramer. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Today's class is going to be a quick stretch session for your hips, your hamstrings, and your shoulders. If you're new to yoga or if you're really tight-bodied, this is the perfect session for you. You'll need a few props for this class, so go ahead and find yourself a blanket. If you don't have a yoga blanket, you can substitute with a towel, just fold that up. We'll need a yoga strap. Once again, find something lying around your house, maybe even just a regular belt, and a couple of yoga blocks if you're tight. For that, you can substitute with some water bottles, hardback books, just anything that you can use to make it work basically. So go ahead and grab those and I'll meet you back here on your mat. Let's jump straight into it. Our first stretch for our hips and hamstrings, Kapiyasana or a low lunge. Come into a shallow down dog position, and what we'll do from here is step your right foot roughly between your hands and lower your back knee down. Untuck your back toes, and we're in this low lunge position or Kapiyasana. So feel your way into that and notice where you're feeling the stretch. For me, it'll be in my left hip flexor, a little bit in my right hip. And notice how tight you're feeling right now. So the purpose of this pose is to really help stretch and open that left psoas. From here, we'll add in a little shoulder component. So interlace your fingers behind your back if you can. Take a deep inhale, lift your chest, look up slightly, and on an exhale, sink forward and draw your shoulders back and down. Draw your fist towards your yoga mat. Start to pulse into your thigh, pulsing into your hips. Keep drawing your shoulders back and down. Lift your chest, look up. You'll really feel this in your shoulders as well as your hip flexor. On an inhale, lift your chest a little bit more. On an exhale, sink a little bit deeper. If you're really tight in the shoulders, this will be intense for you. What you can do here to substitute is grab your yoga strap and hold that behind you instead. It's really going to help you to open up your chest. So we're really killing two birds with one stone in this pose. Shoulders, hips, and hamstrings. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. One more time, inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, sink a little bit deeper into it. Release your strap and frame your front foot with your fingertips. From here, let's untuck our back toes, plant your hands, step back through a plank pose briefly, come into your downward facing dog. And let's do that on the opposite side. Step your left foot between your hands, lower your back knee down, untuck your toes, and come up into our low lunge. So once again, we're trying to isolate the right hip flexor and the left hip in this stretch initially. So start to feel into that. Pulse yourself forward and back. Notice where you're feeling this. Are you feeling extra tight on this side? If you're new to yoga, new to these types of stretches, it's really an explorative time for you. You'll start to figure out differences in tightness between the sides of your body, where you might feel some underlying injuries, underlying tightnesses and things that hold you back. So just start to think about that. From here, let's interlace our fingers behind our backs. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, draw your fist towards your mat. Shoulders back and down, lift your chest. We're not arching too much into the low back. If you find that happening, you can use your strap. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper into this. Inhale, lift. And exhale, sink. Couple more breaths here. Inhale, exhale. Just focus on the breath. One more time. Inhale. And exhale, release yourself out of that stretch. Plant your hands, step back into a down dog briefly, pedal your feet out. Maybe move your hips side to side. And come down onto your knees. So that low lunge is a really great way for you to start to stretch into those tight hip flexors. If you're someone who runs, or if you're someone that sits in an office desk a lot of the time, or you're just sitting for long periods of time, it's really going to help you lengthen the psoas muscle that gets so tight, and that'll contribute to a lot of back pain. So if you can stretch that out, you'll start feeling a lot better. The next stretch that we're going to come into, we'll use our yoga blanket for this. So you can use a cushion here if you need, or a rolled up towel. We're just going to use that to sit on for some extra height. We'll probably need our strap for this too. What we'll do is sit on your blanket and straighten your legs out in front of you. If you're tight, this is already going to feel quite challenging for you. The more height, the easier it is. So from here, I want you to draw your left foot into your inner thigh so it's out on an angle. This is called Sheershasana. So from here, right leg straight, we're going to be working the right hamstring. But before we do that, we'll bring some shoulder work into it a little bit. So take out your strap or your belt, and I want you to find a width that allows you to move through for your shoulders. You might have to widen it a little bit depending on how tight you are. From here, keep a nice straight spine. Lift your head up, crown of your head towards the ceiling. From here, one rotation back, opening through the shoulders, and over for two. Let's do that a few more times, working with your own tightness, with your own ability. Start to make these slow, controlled movements. Think of working into the shoulder joint as you do this, whilst keeping a nice, straight, long spine. A few more times. If you're feeling any tension, maybe you're craning into your neck, widen the strap a little bit. These rotations are really going to help lubricate your shoulder joint, help bring mobility into that area. For so many of us, our shoulders and upper back get so tight. This is a great way to open up. Let's stop once we have our strap behind us. Can you lift your chest, draw your shoulders back? See if you can squeeze and bring your fists towards each other behind you. From here, I want you to pulse with your chin towards your right toes. You'll feel this in your hamstring, and bring it up again. 2. So go until you start to feel the tension in your right hamstring, and then come back up. Gentle tension each time you pulse forward. Not too much. What we're doing here is starting to affect the nervous system around the right hamstring, letting the muscles know that we're going to be stretching into them. For a lot of us, tightness doesn't come because of our muscles being tight. It can be because of the fascia and the nervous system not being open and responsive to the stretch. It's a protective mechanism. Basically, it's telling your brain to tighten up those areas so that you don't injure yourself. So right now, this pulsing action will help you to ease and settle the nervous system. From here, come to the top, release your strap out of the way, and I want you to lift your chest, and on an exhale, fold forward. If you need your strap, if you're still tight, you can place it around the ball of your right foot. Take a hold. Keep your spine nice and straight here. Resist the temptation to round into the upper back if you're tight in the hamstrings. So use your strap to lengthen your arms if you can't really grab your feet from here. And think of feeling the stretch in your right hamstring right now. So draw your shoulders back. On an exhale, see if you can draw your chin towards your toes more. Think of drawing your chin towards your toes, not towards your knee, which ends up rounding your spine too much. We're working into the hamstring here. On an inhale, lift your chest, and on an exhale, sink down a little bit more. As you start to work through these stretches more, your hamstrings become more open. You can eventually go for the toe grab, the foot grab. But I don't want you to rush and end up compromising your form. Couple breaths here. Really opening that right hamstring. This is the perfect class for you to do if you're a runner, or if you've just done a run and your hamstrings are feeling tight. Maybe your lower back is aching a little bit. One more breath. And ease up and out of it. Let's change sides. So straighten out your left leg, bring your right foot into the inside of your left thigh. Take a hold of your strap. We'll go for those shoulder rotations once more. So have your strap, find your width. Keep your spine nice and long. Sit on your height if you need that. And rotate it back and forwards for 1, 2. Keep your shoulders even as you do this. Does one side feel tighter than the other? Start to notice where you feel these tightnesses. The first step towards correcting issues and tightnesses in our body is becoming aware of them. For some of us, there'll be a temptation to arch into the low back as we compromise for tight shoulders. And that's why you'll end up with back pain. If there's tightness in one area, your body will always compensate by putting that tension in another area. Couple more. Such a great exercise for the shoulders. And pause with the strap behind you. Let's pulse with our chin towards our toes this time. 1. Keep drawing the shoulders back, fists together. See if you can keep the strap loose behind you. 4, 5, 6. Gentle tension on the left hamstring, easing our nervous system into a relaxed state. Few more. And let's release our strap if you need it. Place it over the left ball of your foot. Lift your chest, draw your shoulders back, and start to ease your chin towards your toes. Draw your toes towards your face so that we're flexing the front foot. You can be up here if you need to. I would much rather your back be straight. The main thing is that you're feeling it in your left hamstring. So if you're up here, that's fine, as long as you're feeling a gentle tension in your left hamstring. As you become more open, your chin moves towards your toes, but not at the expense of rounding your back. Breathe and settle. If you're someone who's open in your hamstrings, you can allow yourself to slightly round into the spine as your chin comes towards your shin and your toes. Don't be in any rush to come down. There's this innate, it's almost an instinct within us to get to the final stages of something. And for many people, that means placing your forehead on your shin, coming down. But we don't want to compromise our form here. That's not the purpose of this stretch. Couple more breaths. Release your strap and come on out of your pose. Straighten your legs out in front of you. So this time we'll have both legs in front of us. Take a hold of your strap if you need to and place it over both feet this time. Nice straight back. Lift your chest, draw your shoulders back. Take a deep inhale, and on an exhale, fold all the way forward to your maximum depth here. If you've got a straight back holding on your strap, that's fine. We're working both hamstrings together for our final hamstring stretch. We'll be here for about 30 seconds, that's all. You'll notice that sometimes I like to pulse in these stretches. It's just that same action, gently pulsing on the muscle to allow the nervous system to relax and receive the stretch. Breathe. So in terms of the height that you've chosen to sit on, the reason I had those blocks before was you can actually place your block underneath a blanket for some extra height. That's really going to help ease any tension in your hamstrings and your back. Feels like a completely different stretch, so play around with that next time. I encourage you to repeat this class every day if you can, or at least every time after you exercise, particularly running. Couple breaths. And when you're ready, ease yourself up, nice straight back, draw your shoulders back and down, and come into a seated position. Thank you so much for joining me in this short hamstring, hips, and shoulder stretch. I hope that you are feeling a lot more open. You'll really notice if you keep repeating this class that the benefits will just keep on coming. So thank you for joining me. Once again, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.